Well, hey there, folks. I'm meteorologist Matt Barentine. An absolutely burning kind of day out there for us. It's so hot. We have a heat advisory here for our Monday. We're going to see highs well up in the 90s, maybe mostly the mid-90s for many of us. Heat index values 105 plus. We will get some rain later this week. That will help us out with these temperatures. But until then, it's going to remain very, very hot. So we're going to have heat index values around 105 in a couple of days. It does come down towards the end of the week. It's still hot, obviously, but we'll have rain to help cool things off from the worst of the heat. All right, so your upper level winds, this is all about compression. So when we look at the atmosphere, and we look way up in the atmosphere, about 20,000 feet up, we have a big area of high pressure. So a lot of sinking air way up there in the top of the atmosphere, and 20,000 feet above us, pushing down, and pushing down. That compression that the air is undergoing heats it up. I want you to think about if you've ever used a pump, whether it's a little inflatable pump or whatnot. After the pump has been working, compressing air inside that tube, you touch the pump and it's warm or downright hot. When you compress air, it heats up. Simple physics. And that's what's happening here for us across our area. Now, also when we have sinking air, we don't have very many showers or storms, but it's July. So there's always a chance of a couple. So we're going to keep a very small rain chance in there today, around 20%. But obviously that means a lot of us won't have any real chance of seeing any rain. So most of us will stay dry. It's going to be a very hot and hazy day, mid-90s this afternoon. It's not just the fact that it gets hot. Really, it's the fact that it stays hot throughout the day. It's going to, triple-digit heat index from about 10:30 in the morning to about 7:30 at night. So you're talking, hours and hours, 9 hours or so of triple-digit heat index values. Here are the actual highs that we expect today. 94 Mobile, 96 Molina, 93 Pensacola, 98 in Calvert, 97 in Chatham. So smoking hot temperatures. And then there's the heat index. 105, 107, 106. Many areas getting up into that range. And that gets a little beyond just being plain old hot. That gets up into the dangerous range. And I know we talk about it a lot. And I know that people get like, yeah, we live on the Gulf Coast. We can deal with heat. Yeah, get that. But here's what can happen. Your day's busy. Things are going on. Kids are doing things. You're running around. And then some point along the line, you just forget. And you get out there in the middle of the day. You're running around doing your thing. And you realize you haven't drank any water in a while, and boy, you are thirsty. So, you could easily get dehydrated, so make sure you just kind of keep up with things. And the other thing is, too, when somebody's having a problem with the heat, when they start getting heat exhaustion or heat stress, they'll often get confused. And then it's on you, somebody around them, to notice it and then help them out, okay? Somebody just doesn't look right. They look a little pale, look a little clammy. That's when it's time for you to say, hey, can I? And they may not at first say they need any help, but pay attention to them, okay? Because once again, remember, they may be confused because of what they're going through. That's very, very common. I've seen it myself. You can tell, and they sometimes can't. The tropics, we're pretty good out there. I mean, there is one area watching way out in the Atlantic for some very low risk of development, but nothing here close by. We're good to go. I think everything's good for us for a while. We have low rip current risk today. Went to the beach over the weekend. Well, beautiful conditions I saw, but hot. Here's the thing. The water temperatures have actually cooled off, believe it or not, because of how we got the Gulf all churned up last week with that tropical disturbance. Now, it didn't do much, right? But it did churn up the Gulf, and that helped cool things off a little bit. It's down like to the mid-80s instead of the upper 80s now. Not a big difference, but enough for one that I noticed it because it was actually, pleasant to get in the water rather than just, feeling like warm soup. The thing though is if you're going to the beach next couple of days, remember this heat is pretty intense even at the beach. Yeah, you can cool off in the water, but when you get out of the water and you're on the sand, you really make sure you got a good cover, an umbrella, a little beach tent, whatever you have. Make sure you have some shade so that you have a way to get out of that sun when you need to, because it'll eat you up right now. It is rough. Here's what it looks like through the week. I'm going to go ahead and get this full screen, get my mug out of the way so you can see it well. It's going to continue to remain very hot the next couple of days, but this heat wave does not last very long. We'll make that transition to a rainier setup towards the end of the week. We're going to have a lot of moisture coming in off the Gulf. I don't think nothing becomes tropical, so to speak, but that's deep tropical moisture off the Gulf, and that's going to really increase our rain chances Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So essentially, that high that I was talking about, the upper level high with the heat dome, is going to move away. And as it starts to move north, actually, and as it moves north, we'll get more of an east and then southeast wind off the Gulf, and that'll start to allow some Gulf moisture to come back in, and that's why we'll transition to some higher rain chances towards the end of the week, and importantly, cooler temperatures. I say cooler. Remember, I showed you the heat index values still stay above 100, still stay around 100. So even when it's 89 degrees, you can still get a heat index of 100 or even higher because it's so humid. But, you know, hey, anything helps to back off a little bit, and that's what we're going to see here towards the end of the week. Hope you have yourself a great day, a great week. Stay tuned to Fox 10 all week long.